Hey, everybody. Welcome back to this episode of the NDBI Navigator podcast. I am incredibly excited to welcome two amazing professionals joining us from sunny Hawaii today. We have Sho Araiba and we have Marija Čolić. Hi, guys.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Oh, I'm
Hello,
so excited.
hello.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you, Maria. That's what I should have said. Aloha. I'm so excited to get you guys a platform to talk about the social skills program that you've been running for the past 2 years. I think you mentioned, Show, and what you've learned from that play-based approach, limitations or barriers or exciting ideas moving forward. But before we do that, can I have you both just take a minute to kind of tell us about who you are, what you're doing, where you've been at the past 5, 10, 20 years or so? Thanks. Show, do you want to start?
Sure. My name is Sho Araiba. I'm originally from Japan. I did my school in Queens College City, University of New York. I majored in psychology. I got a PhD in psychology, specializing in behavior analysis. And I'm primarily a clinician, and I also teach at Leeward Community College in University of Hawaii. And Maria and I are co-investigators of this research project about social play.
I love it. Thank you, Show. I didn't realize you went to school in Columbia. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Small world.
Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you so much, Jamie, for having us today. I'm very excited to be able to share more with everyone what we have been working on. So I just said, my name is Marija Čolić. I'm originally from Serbia. It's one small country in Europe. I finished my school there. I got my degree in psychology and also special education. So I feel that dual degree helped me also a lot with my clinical practice. I moved in the United States like around 11 years ago so far. And I would say that all these experiences as immigrant clinicians, now assistant professor at the University of Hawaii in Manoa, really helped me look into play and more analytic-based intervention. So.
Yeah, and this is such an incredible conversation we get to have because we can talk about play from different cultures, right? Different
Yeah.
upbringings, different cultures, and kind of what that social aspect looks like, which I imagine is different in each culture. So, sidebar for later. But the research that I had seen you guys talk about was on LinkedIn. I just happened to be scrolling through and I was so excited to see that one, because it was social play, which I think is kind of missing from our arena, especially within behavior analysis. I feel like we have play programs, but I don't know that we have social play programs, which to me is one of those really important cusp skills to have that orient to people, attend to people, interact with people. And so I think that's really exciting. And I want you guys to take some time and kind of just share all of the incredible goodness that you have found out of your last 2 years of doing this, please.
Maria, you want to go?
Yeah, start and then I think I hope we can obviously fill in each other because we have so much to talk about. Before we dive into research, I just want to briefly share how we at all even came up to this idea. It was really living in Hawaii. We realized that a lot of families didn't have access to any play programs or even social skills outside maybe their own one-on-one therapy. And we knew that because, as I said, we work as clinicians, so we could really see over time that many families really share without their struggles about just knowing not having play dates, their child didn't have friends. So we initially started as just to offer like a place, social skill place, any play that children will come and feel good. That was all. We didn't even think about doing a research. So really was just inspired by community needs. So what we did, we were lucky to get classroom in a college of education here on UH Manoa. And we put a flyer out there. We had some families join. I think back then we had maybe around that first time, maybe 10, 12 children to join. And they were coming in and out each session. But that's how we started. We had some volunteers, Sho, myself, a couple of students. And that's how it started, really just doing, as I said, responding to the needs. But then as we were doing that one semester, we realized that we could even do this as a part of the research, because we were hoping we could get more support, maybe with some funds in the future. We could also get more support from the university. And at the same time, we can really utilize the time that we are there to observe, learn about social play, and really help, again, our like ABA community and educators and anyone interested in early intervention and overall support of autistic children to really look into how we can design some type of social play curriculum to be able to implement anywhere, and everybody could have that opportunity to play and really learn the skills through play, because we really strongly believe that every child, no matter whether it's neurodivergent child with a typical development, is learning through play. Yeah. So if typically developing child learns through play, well, the same rights have also autistic child with Down syndrome, child with intellectual disability, etc., rather than being confined to the table and learn those skills. So that's, I think, something we really had in mind when we started, and I think, you know, this even growing more as we are moving along. So this is just intro. Maybe Sho can start with the research, but I wanted just to give that. I think it's important, because if you are listening and watching this somewhere, you can always start small, and once you start, people will recognize, people will appreciate, and then you can really make some change.
I know, I love your passion. I share your passion. And as a parent of a neurodivergent children, you know, I can kind of attest to it is hard, it is isolating, and it could be difficult to have those play dates and to make those friendships and meet other parents when you don't feel like you might have the skills to go somewhere in the community that your child might not feel included in or welcome. So I think that's amazing that you guys started from that genuine source of wanting to build a place. You know, I live in Iowa, a field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Right? I love the mentality that you guys
perfect.
created it, and the families are interested in it, and that you're meeting that need, and 100% full on. Why would we not be teaching the children we support in a play-based context, right? Children learn through play. That's the vessel. But I think sometimes it is pushed back or put on the back burner from other skills that need to be taught in some random order, out of sequence sometimes, and then we'll get to the play, versus if you start in play and you follow that child's lead, get that motivation, use all of those incredible NDBI strategies and approaches, then it's just easier and it's definitely more fun. So I love that. I love the passion so much.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I agree completely, because when we started sort of looking into play, you know, it was like Marija said, it was out of our needs, because you know, we were primarily in-home therapists. You know, we were going to the home and doing one-on-one, you know, ABA service. But then, like you know, you have this history as well, Jamie, that you know, you started with DTT, and then you know, you have doubt on it, and then you're kind of like, okay, is there any better way to, because you know, I think primarily ABA is about reinforcement. You know, reinforcement is the most important aspect of it, but oftentimes it's not. It's an artificial reinforcement, and you know, children will not. Maybe children like to play with an iPad, but it doesn't mean that children will love you as a therapist, you know. But so we had this problem that, okay, you know, how could we make children love the session itself rather than iPad, or rather than a cookie, or rather than, you know. And then that's when we started realizing, oh, play, if we play, you know, that is reinforcing. That is really what children love to do, and that's how they, you know, how we can incorporate any type of, programs in it. And so that was really sort of like a realization, like, wait a minute, play is actually the center of what children do and what children want to do,
Yeah.
and also that's the most important thing they have to learn too, right?
Yes. Yeah. What else are
So
you supposed to be doing at that
yeah, what else is there?
age?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, theoretically speaking, like, we need to know how to play with others if you want to go to school, because school is a kind of like a play. Like, it has a rule, it has a, oh, there's a role and there's this and that, but, you need to know like how to play school, you know. So in
Yeah.
some sense, yeah, it's like, it's a life skill.
It really is. And that made me think about my clinic in Vegas. It was an ESDM clinic, but the children called it play school because it was set
Mm.
like a little mock daycare preschool room that we wanted to transition them into. So I love you say play school. It just resonates with that. But I feel like with that mentality, thinking about that, we can break it down into what are the skills that they need to learn to be successful in that environment that you guys are talking about. There are a lot of interpersonal skills that are being supported or that need to be supportive in preschool, kindergarten. It's a whole nother setting from a one-to-one. So it's great to hear you talk about that. And I'm excited to hear more about the types of behaviors you guys have been supporting or teaching or tracking and seeing if there's any patterns that you've identified or really critical skills that we want all children to learn from your project. I'm sure there's so many.
Maria, you want to start?
Yeah. So just on side note, when you say play school, actually the program, our research program, kids calling Play Dojo. And
Oh,
we came from one autistic boy. He said, "Why not Play Dojo?" And now they all are calling Play Dojo. Parents are calling Play Dojo. So I don't know if it's going to be official name, but
you need to
it
trademark
became
that.
already. That's what I'm saying. It's already marked, and the parents are talking about that. Oh yeah, we're going to Play Dojo. So something again really came from the child, not from us. The name itself. When it comes to the program, so. We usually run, I would say, one cohort. We call it a cohort in each semester. So we have approximately 10 sessions per semester. I would say sometimes maybe one or two, more or less, really depending on the schedule. There are many logistics involved, but I said on average we have around 10 sessions we do on Saturdays morning.
Okay, so okay.
And we have children there from 9 to 10:30. So for 1 hour and a half, they come.
Mhm.
What is very important for us is that obviously parents are present there. So this is not the place where parents will just drop the child and leave. They stay with us in the classroom. So they usually will sit around. As of now, because we really focus on children play, we haven't developed I would say, some training for the parents, but that is definitely something we're looking down the line to do. But anyhow, parents are there. So they are encouraged to join any play if they want, as much as they feel comfortable. In some cases, when child comes, they maybe need that, obviously, comfort and support. So we said, sure, go play, because child will also get more relaxed and enjoy that new environment. So I would say that is really just like overall a structure how we have several students that joined the project. We are very grateful for them and excited that there are young folks who are interested in supporting autistic children. So we have group. It depends on the semester and cohort. Usually we have around 4 children, so they're all with autism spectrum diagnosis.
Okay.
This semester, actually, we have 7 students, which is more than we had so far, but we had really very large interest.
Yay.
So we decided to open up and at least make a group that would be similar in age.
Okay.
And then maybe next semester we have another group with a different ages. So that's what we were planning to do now. So this is kind of like a very, obviously, just set up the structure itself. When it comes to running a session, and what actually we're doing, as you said, what skills we're working on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of complex because we're looking at many different skills and also at a type of games. We are recording sessions, so we analyze data. After that, we try to go back and watch what each game looks like, what skills are needed to be successful in each game. And what we're looking and trying to find, working on our also, no assessment itself, but we try to it's still assessment, but we try to use more positive term and to be more like a strength map of a child, so we can see what a child, what skills are obviously really good, maybe what skills they could get even higher developed. So we're working on that as well. So then we analyze all of that. So when you ask what skills we are looking at, it's actually a lot of different skills that we are focusing on. And the reason why, because we are trying to find some foundational skills, which you earlier mentioned, that might be needed across not every game, but most of the games. And that is what we are currently now. We were also looking at that show, we'll talk more about that. We were also looking at very interesting phenomena when it comes to the duration of social or of engagement in social play. So the children, when they come, they usually have some downtime, like a 5-10 minutes. We will set up different playstations where they come. They will engage either with another child, with an adult, by themselves, depending, however they feel. So that is something very important. However they feel, they will engage in that game. And then after that, usually we were having a different group games. The children, again, will use. We will use the visual schedule. We found over time that visual schedule works well. Without visual schedule was kind of difficult for children to choose and make an order. But having a lot of different games and the visual schedule of those games, they will actually pick whatever they want to do. So they will pick, they will put an order, they'll be like, okay, we want to play these games. And then also that is one thing we look into. Will engagement in those group games increase over time compare how was at the very beginning? And that's something we did find. Very commonly we will say initially maybe the first couple sessions you can see about maybe 15-20 minutes to be spent in a group games. Everything else would be, as I said, at those playstations. But then toward the end of the last semester, we had for the whole time, so the kids will come 2-3 minutes only to be at the playstations. They will then engage in group games all until they time to leave. So there was almost no break. And that's something as well very exciting for us to see. And it's not like we force them. They can stop at any time. And if we see they're tired, we will be like, how about we take a break, which we had been doing at the beginning. But they have so much fun and they will be like, no, next game. What is next? Let's do. So that's something as well. We were looking into how to structure session to really slowly build that momentum and slowly build children interest in engaging together and looking into that kind of progression.
Yeah, and you were talking about not really the assessment. What comes to my mind is almost a profile, right? There's kind of this child profile, or there's a profile about an activity or a game where you mentioned the strengths mapped, potential barriers you might encounter. This toy needs sharing. If they don't share well, that might be a barrier that we want to give some support to, or potential executive functioning skills. They have a hard time stopping, starting, pivoting, attentional focus, right? Like all of those kind of, let's play Uno or Connect Four. Those are the games in my head right now. What could you anticipate skills to support from engagement? What might be barriers that you might encounter depending on every child's profile of how they engage with others or engage with materials? And I love that they get to choose it, because then you have that child choice, child-centered, already incentive buy-in, that natural kind of, I want to do this. And then trying to think about what kind of skills to target. So like, for example, in the ESDM, we have our sensory social routines, which are dyadic engagement, people play. And then we have our object-focused routines, which are triadic engagement. So that's kind of the shared focus. So in certain types of joint activity routines, I would work on different types of skills. And my people play, me and the other child playing together, I'm not going to have imitation with an object because I'm not supposed to have an object handy. It's supposed to be dyadic. So that is something I think could be really cool to map on potential targets to work on just by the way that the activity or game is set up. They naturally are going to lead to opportunities for turn taking, sharing, shared attentional focus. And those busy people games are going to have a different kind of a probably feel for them or skills that you might target and or barriers to support as well.
Yeah, so I can speak to that. So like Maria said, there are primarily three factors we look into right now. One is the difficulty of play, right?
Mhm.
So, like you mentioned, in a typical development, quote unquote, you can see starting from functional play, symbolic, then goes to symbolic play, to pretend play, to cooperative play, right? So that's a kind of like a sequence that, some of the kids go through in order for, in terms of the complexity of play, right? So even with a group setting, that is also a factor because okay, if you're just rolling on the mat, right? So everybody is on the mat and roll uh, into the music, and they're gonna roll with together, and that's pretty much a functional play because there is nothing else other than the mat, and then just you're rolling to the music.
Mhm.
But then when it comes to something like chase, that is already a symbolic play because when you chase, you have to know who is it,
Mhm.
right? And then you
Oh,
have to know who is the people who are the ones who are running,
yeah,
right? So now it's symbolic because there's nothing physical indicating what is it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you have to know. And then you have to keep track on who is it and who is running and who is the member. So it's already something. There are a lot of behaviors we're looking into that we kind of call it like elementary social behavior,
Mhm.
which it's just a kind of like a name that we just put it that that requires it just in order to know to be in a group and
Mhm.
to do some games. So that's one thing. The next factor is, okay, how many peers can you play at once, right? Like, oh, solo play, solitary play, to dyad, to triad, and then group, right? And that requires different skills because if it's a solitary play, you don't need to know anything about anybody else. But if it's a dyad, then you need to know the other person.
Mhm.
But if it's like a five group member, you have to know who is who, you know. So like, okay, who is playing with me? Whereas, oh, these others are not playing. Like that's already like a social, we call it like elementary social behavior of like in-group, out-group
Mhm.
response. That's we just put in those names because we just kind of want to figure it out. But okay, because in our group, there is a classroom and then there are parents who are like sitting around
Yep.
and then there are kids who are not participating and then there are kids who are participating, right? So a child who plays with the group needs to know this kid is playing with me, this kid is not playing with me,
Mhm.
mom is not playing with me, so and so's mom is not playing with me, right? So
Yeah.
that's already like, oh, we are like realizing like, wait a minute, the kids are naturally, for the most part, discriminating those,
Yeah.
who is
Like
playing, who's
discrimination
not.
training.
Yeah, it's a discrimination training, right?
Yeah.
And that probably has to go from solitary to dyad to triad to group, if you really want to sort of scaffold it.
Yes.
Uh, and the last factor is the neurodiversity. We really want to understand how people in neurodiversity play and what their development look like, because they have the unique pathway to development, and we really want to you don't want to deny it or neglect it. You really want to just support that development. So that part is also something that we think is important.
Yeah, that's a lot of moving pieces to manage. And I'm
Yeah,
thinking rules and roles, kind of like what you're talking about, the chase game. And I'm sure you've seen a very young group of children try to play chase who don't quite understand rules and roles, and everybody's it and everybody's running, and no one, they're having the best time. No one has the clue of the rule, right? And who the roles are, but they still have fun with it. But you're right, when we get up to some of those more complex interpersonal type of activities, there are roles. Are you the giver or the taker? Are you the chaser or, right, hide and seek, seeker or the
yeah,
finder? What are those roles? And discrimination, how do you know that that person has that role? What are those environmental variables that are cueing you? Mom's turned away, child's facing you, and picking up on those real subtle
yeah.
elementary, say it again.
We just call it elementary social behavior, but it's just
Thank you.
our way of saying it. And,
ESOs. ESO, elementary social behavior. I love it. Yes. And I love that you kind of talk about, the neurodiversity of, autistic play is authentic play. And the
yeah,
way that our children that we support play is no less than, a neurotypical peer. It might be different. That doesn't mean it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a different way of playing. So being able to lean into that and embrace it. And this is how we play chase here, has a different spin on it, could be a really great way to support everybody's interest and preferences. So I love that you guys are also having that lens on the work that you're doing, because that is so incredibly important. And I speak as a professional and also as a parent to that, of how meaningful that can be for some families. So thank you for that. That's incredible. So we
we are
got
still learning about it. Like we are, like, as we go, we are learning. I mean, Maria is very knowledgeable about that aspect, so I'm learning from her too. you
great.
know. So.
Great. Is there a certain number of kids that you have in a group, 4 to 7, or you started with 4, you're up to 7? Is that a different dynamic? Like, whoo, more bodies, more things to manage, or interesting, still kind of rolls?
Yeah, that's wonderful. So it's exactly our question for the past 2 weeks since we just started this new cohort. Because so far we had the previous cohort and a cohort before that, actually, the 3 kids stay with us across, I would say this is the third semester. And it was actually interesting because they're with us for over 1 year and they wanted to continue. And obviously, we don't want to say, well, you were here for 1 year, you cannot access. Of course, we want to have you, and we see the effect, and we want definitely to continue with that. So we have that group, and then we have also 4 kids that joined this semester that are new to the program. And we had so far 2 sessions, and we can really see difference between these 2 groups. So far, they're all together. When I say different, the children that have been with us for 1 year, they already like, oh, let's see what we're going to play. When we said, let's set up a schedule, they come, they choose any game that we have, they will engage in play. Of course, they will need some support with us if they need any, like maybe verbal prompt, modeling, but they're there and they know the structure.
Mm.
The new children that we have are still learning the structure because understandable is something completely new for them. So they will be in and out, or some games they maybe don't even know to play yet. So then it's harder because you have this group that is more advanced in the terms, and then we're looking, can we, because they have more advanced skill, can they be their peers in a term to teach them some games? So that's something as well we're looking to use their knowledge of the games
Yeah.
to bring the new kids. We're also looking into reorganizing, and what Sho earlier was saying and you about our elementary social behaviors. We might be looking into going to diets.
Yeah.
And maybe starting with there and kind of helping, because no matter what game they're playing, commonly there will be similar those elementary social behavior that they need to understand. And earlier you mentioned they need to understand roles. Not maybe the roles exactly, but they need to understand there is a role in the game. And based on that, because each game they have different rules, they will need to learn rules. But if we can help them understand, okay, there is a role, there is that like in and out behavior, there is something we haven't talked, maybe I don't think we have time today, we call territorial behavior, when they learn where the game occurs. Because if I'm in diet and maybe I'm standing and maybe we're holding some actually I have here material in my office where we tried last week, giving them like a piece, kind of big cardboard, and then they need to balance a balloon, and two of them, and they have to bring balloon to the bucket and put inside. So if that's the case, they need to understand, okay, who is my partner, who is my peer, where is our territory, where we walk, who is not. So there are many actually of these behaviors that we are trying now to look into a new group, and maybe going back and trying to go, as we said, to diet, maybe try it and then group. Because having already a cohort that I said went through these games and structure, and the new children, definitely we can see there is something we need to change, and that's something exciting for us to learn this next couple of months.
Yes, I'm making my notes here. You guys have so many amazing ideas. I had rules and roles, but now I'm thinking, no, it's social rules and roles. That social element that you guys are weaving in there so effortlessly. And I love the game that you're describing, creating games like that or activities, teamwork, play partner, work together. Your role is contingent on the other person's role. Your cardboard is dropping, they need to pick it up to balance the balloon, and we're moving towards a final terminal behavior. Dump the balloon in the bucket, whatever, and they do it together based on that social reciprocity, watching, orienting, helping, talking, gesturing to one another. I'm just thinking of the joint activity routines I do. They're always, with one kid, but what a cool thing to think about, building out some joint activity routines with a dyad with that focus. And then, like you said, increasing the complexity by adding on a third person or a small group to really get to that, as opposed to just playing Connect Four. That's what we're playing right now. I put a piece in, you put a piece in to win. And then we have sometimes peers don't like to lose, and that's hard for children. You're setting up an activity where they both get to win together, and the winning is contingent on the social togetherness. And that is, my little light bulbs are going up. That's incredible. Do you guys do other games like that, like with the cardboard and the balloon? I need your ideas so I can practice them. That is so cool. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think so one of the things that we are realizing, because it's a social play, what is the reinforcement aspect of social play, right? Because
Mhm.
we are so obsessed as a behavior analyst. We have a good and bad habit of task analyzing everything.
Yeah.
So we are task analyzing, a lot of different games, like, green light, red light, and all, even Connect Four.
Yep.
And so when you just look at task analysis, it's just rules, right? Okay, if it's a Connect Four, you have to drop the coin, you have to put it. But so, the other day I was playing Connect Four with one of my, my friend had a, nephew who is playing that. So I was playing with him, just
Thrilled.
not clinically, we were just playing with. And I just realized, oh, when I do Connect Four, I'm actually talking to him, and I'm teasing him like, oh, I'm gonna put it here, you
Huh?
know, oh, I have this strategy, do you realize what I'm doing? Like, I'm doing that, right?
Mhm.
And that's fun. That's the joy.
Yeah.
It's not, well, winning and losing is one of the reinforcement,
Mhm.
but to tease each other,
Just the
to
patient.
communicate. Yeah, right. And that's really what's maintaining Connect for.
Mhm.
So, for the same, so we really, as a behavior analyst, we're like kind of like missing that point because when you task analyze, that thing is gone. We don't really talk about that, you
Mhm.
know. So like any games that we do, like, okay, we have this ball game where, it's a diet game where we have, the kid will pass the ball to each other and we can, ask them to do something like, okay, you have to pass the ball and name the person, right? And then pass the ball back to and name the person. And then you can do a lot of different plays with that. Like, okay, name the items in a grocery shop. And then, okay, cucumber, tomato, and then they just pass ball to each other, something like that.
Hmm.
And that way you can also have to pay attention to what the other person is saying
Yep.
and where the ball is and where to play. So it's all like it's a diet thing, but it's actually a lot of social interactions going on at the same time.
Mhm.
And that type of thing is really something that we are looking into.
Yeah, I love that. I'm reworking red light, green light right now in my head using kind of your things that you guys are
Yeah.
working on. So our red light, green light compliments of our son, who was very creative. Green light, go, red light, stop, yellow light, slow, black light, go backwards,
Oh,
rainbow light,
wow.
turbo, and purple, swirl. So
Oh,
she makes
wow.
up these things. I'm like, what a cool thing if we took a jump rope and tied it together and we were both at the same
Oh,
time having to do the motion. He's gonna
oh,
pull,
wow.
I'm gonna pull, and we're gonna have this silly anticipatory, uh-oh, we've both fall down. Like I can see where this is going already. But the essence of that is not beating the other person to get to the person who calls it. It's working together to get there in a literally like a physically bound way, or removing that at some point, just watching the other peer. Oh, we can't get more than this far away. We're doing this together. I can think of that being a really cool way to take some of these activities and add that elementary kind of social aspect or behavior to it, just to rework it from a different perspective, to really attune to some of those very subtle, really foundational skills that are sometimes hard to teach when we're so busy task analyzing, like you said, Joe. Mm.
Yeah, I love that idea. You gave us just more thing to do.
Add
I
another
love,
one.
thank you. Because we do run, we do obviously green and red light because kids love it, but we haven't tried to use as I said, working in diet as a group. So I think that's really good. Something as well to kind of continue on green and red light and what Sho earlier was saying about the rules. So one thing also, we really don't enforce rules necessarily in the our session while playing. In the terms, if child maybe goes a little off the rule, we will let them do as long as they have fun and they're not obviously disrespectful or they're not doing anything to other children.
Yeah.
So if they have fun, we'd be like, okay, we'll not be like, no, you have to do this. So we really almost never correct child. So if they, for some reason, don't follow the rule, we will maybe wait next opportunity, try to model, try to be like, oh, look how this friend is doing, rather than be like, no, you have to go back. So kind of we really don't do. But something interesting we noticed, there is one child and they love breaking the rules and they find so much fun in that activity. And we all find because it's so funny.
Uh-huh.
But they like breaking rule in relation to one peer mainly. So when they play green and red light, and there is that one peer who will be eating, giving instruction, the other child will on purpose, when it's red, run, when it's green, stand, and then they will run around and kind of like a tease each other. So they will come and be like, oh, and the other boy would be like, no, you have to go back, you have to go back. And the child will be
There's the
like,
rule follower.
nope, I'm still running. And actually, that's amazing that we observed how
Yeah.
much joy that brings, because that is what is really, I think, having fun rather than be like, no, this is rules, you have to stop. because that is how they develop their own game within that game. And it's so cute to see, and everyone is just laughing because it's so cute just seeing how much joy they have in that one game they're doing.
And it's a new rule. And I'm just thinking, who made up the rules? And why is it that rule? Why can't we make up our own rules? And why can't that, right? It's so arbitrary. So sometimes I'll be doing things with Liam, Mommy, that's wrong. And I'm like, no, no, it's just different. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just a different way of reading the book this morning that veered off the way that he wanted it read. And this wrong, Mommy. No, I'm reading it differently. And I'll go back and read it the way you want, which you think is the correct way. And he's not wrong. But it's that different way to play. So why can't we have reverse red light, green light? And those are the expectations and rules. It's the silly version. But I love that flexibility and the fun and supporting that, the differences in the play, because play is organic and it ebbs and flows for children. So we want our children to also experience that creative ebbing and flowing and not getting them into this task analysis where we have to do something. It's the process, not the product. The product is not so much that, we won the Connect four in a row. It's the process of how we socially get there together. That's where the fun comes from, I think. So I love that you
Totally.
guys are dialing into that and focusing on that and researching it and publishing it. That's incredible. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, definitely.
Any barriers you guys have found to running the play-based groups or just, getting families to come in to be interested in it? Any hiccups in, putting kids together, grouping them? Lessons learned for people listening who might think this is really incredible because it is,
Yeah.
and they want to come out and replicate this and try to do something with this. Any lessons learned that you would share?
So I think one of the things that I can talk about is our kids are busy. You know,
Mm.
our kids are very busy because they go to school and then at home they probably have an ABA therapy or some other kind of activities, like, whether it's a speech therapy or OT or ABA or very, very busy. And parents are, busy taking the kids to different places. And, so they really are sort of bombarded with the schedule. And that's what we are realizing. So, and initially when we said, okay, this is a you know, um, play group, and that might not be their priority
Mm.
because they're still in, a lot of them are seeking more of like a treatment, quote unquote, rather than this social opportunities.
Mhm.
So that maybe so that kind of once they come to the group and they experience what they, what it is, they will come back. But to invite them to, initially maybe a little bit difficult to, it's not that they don't want to do it, a lot of parents show interest to it, but they're busy. you know I understand, of course life is so, there are so many things happening, and to be able to come to our place and do it is an incredible effort.
Yeah, and kudos to those families that are getting there and making that a priority in life that just keeps lifing and
Yeah,
happening and
yeah,
moving along at a really fast pace, it seems like, and kind of showing them the value of play. I don't think play is as valuable as it really is for a lot of people, and the treatment and the intervention is the priority. But if it's done via play, it's fun and focused and flexible, and that gets you so much more. So I love that you guys are really, again, those elementary social behaviors kind of letting families know this is what we're hoping to support. We're going to, stretch these strengths and support the struggles. And here's what they're called. And here's what we are going to do for your child to support them. That, in my opinion, is equally as important as the other one-to-one things, if not more, because if we can get them to learn from what's going on around them, learn to learn from those social peers, they are then the teachers, and you guys can step back and the learning never stops. Like
yeah.
that is hard to get to. And you guys are creating and contriving an environment to support and facilitate that. which is not easy to do. So if you can show them the value in that, I think you'll have a line up out the door.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's so true. So something we try to, and kind of recommendation, whoever listen and watch,
Mhm.
is maybe offering initially, rather than saying a play skill, which we started with, we can say it's a play-based social skill group, because they are obviously learning, they are expanding their social skills. I think that might also, for parents, be more important than if we only focus on a play skills, which initially we had in the past. Something as well, this is like one of the variable, what Sho said, really when parents come and see, they come back and they love. And we also like just recently got, it's yesterday, we got email from mom who said it, thanks to the our Play Dojo, their son was able to join a football game because there was another child for Play Dojo who came to him and encouraged him to join, and they had a blast. And then she said that it's not only what they're doing on Saturdays, but it's expanding to the community and potentially creating a long life friendships. We also were flexible with the schedule. We offer a Saturday morning, because exactly we understood that afternoons most likely will not work.
Yep.
Because families, as we know, are busy with other responsibilities. So we offer then flexible on Saturday. And also one thing I want to say, I know probably we are coming down, I was soon, but this is really, really important. I want to emphasize for everyone who is listening and watching. Something we do, and I hope everyone will do, we are taking assent. And when I'm saying we're taking assent from the children, this is not just check it off on IRB form. No, even that form over time, they kind of developed, modified, adapted, because we started with something that IRB expected, and over time now we change. What we're saying that when child comes, and we emphasize that so much, we want you to have good time here. We want you to have fun time. If you don't want to play something, you don't have to. Don't feel obligated. You can say no at any time. You can just sit and do whatever you feel you want to do at a time. So that's something like we really nonstop make sure to let children know, because I think a lot of autistic kids we're working with, a lot of them are taught to be compliant and they have to follow rules, which we don't want. No, you can do here what you would like to do. This is a safe place. You don't want to play, you don't have to. It's okay. There will be another game. As long as it's said they're not disturbing anyone, meaning they're not going and doing anything. You just want to do chill, it's okay. And that's actually something we know that kids will take up on when they need it. Sometimes we know the kids autistic are overwhelmed. They need that time to be by themselves. Sure, go. And we can see that. They maybe don't want to engage in the next game and they just go and sit, and we will offer and ask, okay, would you like to play? And they said no. We said, okay, thank you for letting us know, maybe next game. So we will never use any type of prompting for child to go except offering, would you like to join us? Yeah. How about you try? That's all. So something I think really important when anyone who want to run, the child needs to be safe, to feel safe and comfortable and happy. Otherwise, they will not enjoy, they will not come back, and they will just not be there and lose these opportunities that we could see are really good. So that's something I really want to emphasize. And also something to understand for autistic kids, a lot of kids we know they have a monotropic play. We allow that. There are some kids focus on specific interests. I mean, I said, you know what? How about we bring that to the game? Bring whatever you like. There will be somebody want to do story time with that interest. Sure. We allow that. Why? Because we obviously want child to be happy. At the same time, we are teaching other children empathy and compassion. Yes. Maybe your friend really needs this game to be first. How about we let him know? Next time, maybe you can go. So we kind of really try to utilize. That is, I think for me, one of the biggest lessons learned, to teach compassion, for us to be compassionate and kind, and really to be there, not for research sake, but really for the children happiness. So that's my main message.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful message to wrap things up. I know I looked at the clock. You guys, oh, I could talk for hours. And really kind of teaching children to self-advocate, to be their best advocate, to I don't want to do this now. And I talk a lot about meeting the children where they're at, not where we want them to be. And you creating this environment where they can come in and participate whatever and however they want at that day is supporting them where they're at, and then working and scaffolding to getting them where we want them to be, which is social, engaging, right? But you guys are scaffolding that out in a really supportive, assent-based, self-advocating kind of way. And it's exciting to hear that focused. It's not just about going, participating, playing 5 games, 80%, two peers, right? You know what I'm talking about? It's so much more genuine and rich, and will generalize. And like you said, make those lifelong friendships for children. So this has been an incredible episode. I have a whole thing of notes that I'll be following up with you all for ideas on, because I'm just spinning right now. But what I'll end up doing is getting the links if people want to reach out to you, or the website to learn more, which I know that they want to. I know that they're going to want to do. I would be happy to link that for you. If there's anything else you guys want to share with people, I add the links to the show notes. This has been incredible. I hope that everyone that's listening is as excited as I have been about learning about Play Dojo, which you should be trademarking right now, because that's a great name. So, Maria, thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much, Jamie. We're very grateful for this opportunity, and for everyone listening. Thank you.
Thank you.